This video brought to you by Barnett, manufacturers of the finest American-made clutches since 1948. Find a clutch for your bike at barnettclutches.com and feel the Barnett difference. Hey guys and gals, I'm Chris Kiefer. Welcome to RacerXOnline.com. This is Mike Ulrich from Yamaha. He is the communicating specialist, the media manager, whatever you want to call him. He's with us here today to talk about the 2026 YZ450F. I'm going to head out to Glen Helen right now and test this thing. I'm excited. I spent a lot of time on the 23 through the 25 models. Yamaha did a significant amount of changes to this YZ450F. If you want to see all of the changes, we have a separate video because there's several things on this bike that just simply won't fit into this testing-based video. So if before you guys want to see what this thing's all about, go back to that video. It's about 20 minutes. Learn a lot about it right there. But in this video, we're going to go out and ride this thing and really break it down and see if those changes that Mike and the crew made. A lot of changes. A lot of changes. He's really driving this home. Yeah. A lot. Yeah. We're going to go ride.
A new bike.
It doesn't look like a new bike.
It doesn't look like one, but it basically is.
It's a sneaky new machine from Yamaha. We're going to go ride it. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay, that's a wrap here, 2026.
No, stop.
What?
You gotta stop and then bring it in with more enthusiasm. Like, you sound tired.
I thought that was like a kicker.
No.
All right, you ready? All right, guys, that's it. Hey, it's me and Steve here. Now, we just got done, 2026 Yamaha YZ450F, the most anticipated bike, well, 450 of the year, I would assume. The only bike that has significant changes, Steve. And for you guys want to know Steve's opinion, look, you can just tell by the shirt where he's going to go with this thing. So I don't know how much weight he's going to hold to this opinion. But
Bike of the year.
Okay, that's a wrap. And thanks for joining us. So lots of changes. You guys, if you guys watch that video with me and Mike Ulrich, look, it's 20 minutes of changes. And there's so many things that we could talk about, but we're not. We're going to go straight to the track and what those changes mean on the track. He has a 2025. I rode a 2025 today. So right off the top, let's talk about the most important thing, I think, Steve, the chassis changes.
Oh, I thought it was the 70th anniversary colors. These are banging. I think everybody should get them. This will be my personal bike. Red and white, I grew up with this. Good job, Yamaha. Love this motif here. Everyone should get this one.
I'd like you get an option. That is nice. I'm not a red and white guy. I'm standard blue guy. That's me. But for me, the chassis is the most noticeable difference for you Yamaha guys are thinking about maybe coming over to the Blue Crew, or if you have a 23 through a 25 model and you need a little bit more front end traction, a little bit more planted feel. This is a little bit of a hybrid of a 22 and the 26. So I like that part of it. You?
Okay, so I don't know what he's talking about. I'm not a very good rider. I couldn't even make Loretta's. To me, the biggest thing I felt after riding my bike for years is the motor change that they've done. To me, that was more noticeable than the chassis changes. I'm not as good as you, So the chassis is like whatever, it was fine, no hate comms, but I really like how they brought some of the 22 motor feel back. Not all the way, but I felt like when 23 came, it went through the power really quick. It was a two-strokey feel.
Spool up.
Spool up, thank you.
Yep.
And I feel like they've brought this down, whether it's flywheel, mapping, whatever. I tried two maps today. And I felt like it brought back some of that tractability from the 2022 model.
So he jumped the gun on me, but yes, we're going to talk about the engine.
You asked me about chassis. I don't know, man.
Chassis for me, guys, look it has more front end traction. If you guys are talking about a vague feel on your older Yamahas, this has a lot more front end feel. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say it's front wheel bias like a Honda. We're going to bring Eddie in here in a minute to talk about the differences there, but it has a great balance. And when I get off the 25 from the 26, the thing I notice the most is when you're loading the front end, there's not as much rear to front end disconnection as there is on the older model. So to me, that means more planted, more tire contact. That is a plus. So that right there is better already. So for me, I like that. It has better cornering, area 2 to 3. That is better. You're telling me you can corner perfect on your bike to this bike. It's no problem.
Well, you got to remember, I'm coming off with FCP race cups.
Oh, here
I'm coming off with different clamps.
Bougie bikes.
My suspension is done for me.
Right.
So, you know, I'm getting on a stalker. Suspension's fine for me. It's not ideally set up.
It's a little soft, obviously.
A little soft, yeah. So I didn't notice a whole lot of chassis changes. Yeah, sorry, man.
So
just trying to be honest.
Not to your credit, honestly, I feel like the bigger riders, if you're a little bit of a bigger guy,
I'm fat. Now
Now you don't feel the chassis as much as I do. I'm really finicky with especially here at Glen Helen Raceway where you're on the edges of your tires. So for me, better tire contact. Engine, for me, way easier to ride.
Do you follow what, did what I say make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
Good.
Yes, it does make sense. He's living in my world right now.
And then I like the TP map. Travis Preston developed the map for the 26, and I tried that my last time out. I wish I had tried it earlier. Really good. You'll have that on the website?
Yes.
Okay, so put that map in, especially if you're not that fast. If you're Kiefer, you're fine. You can keep your corner speed and all of that. But if you're slower like I am, put that map in.
Engine delivery, spool up with the flywheel weight, it is heavier. I did that to my older Yamaha, so just a little bit of a freer feeling, but yet the linear feel is a lot better on the 26. So you can actually roll your throttle on earlier in the corners and you have more rear wheel connectivity, some more traction, and it's just more manageable, guys. Like, look, I would love to tell you I can go 30 minutes. I can't. So this will help me get to that goal. Like if I can go 12 minutes on my 25, I'll be able to go 18 minutes on this bike. So it's just a lot easier and more manageable to ride. It's plugged up a little bit. I'm not going to say it's not, but Yamaha brought out their GYTR bike, which you didn't ride.
No.
Okay. Which is a different air duct because inside here they have a resonance chamber with the intake going down. They have a GYTR intake as well. They put the old 25 muffler on and it woke it right up. So if you guys want a little bit more power, you simply can go to a muffler or go to a GYTR intake and you'll get that power right back. But again, in stock form for me, I like this type of power. Long, linear, easy to ride, and for me, much more friendly for a guy that may get tired pretty quick, especially the vet guy.
Yeah, I felt like the muffler switch, which is AMA legal, but
Correct.
It's not legal anymore, made the bike really quiet.
Yes.
It's not sucking up much air. The exhaust is choked up a little bit, so way quieter. And that's where I felt like the TP map brought it back alive for me. But even regardless, even with the AMA legal sound muffler on, I still felt like, again, it had more tractability than the other bike. A couple things that I thought too. Love the red and white color. I know I said that again. I like the changes to the seat cover. Really like that seat cover on my tush. That was really nice. And I don't want to make this a total, unbelievable good job bike of the year Yamaha. Gargle on Yamaha. So I will say this.
Okay.
I had a Brembo GYTR hydraulic clutch on my bike for 2 years now. This bike comes stock with a Nissan hydraulic. And Chris, I don't like it.
You're out?
It's not that I didn't like it. I didn't like it as much. It feels more on-off and a harder pull. Okay. So I like the easy pull, and I like it being more gradual. This one is a little hard and a little more rap, which I didn't like as much. So Yamaha, you missed it on the Nissan hydraulic, in my opinion, but everything else is bike of the year.
I don't mind it, actually.
Okay.
So I'm a cable guy. I like a cable clutch. I didn't mind it as much. Sure, I would rather, for me, have a cable, but the pull is actually quite nice for a hydraulic clutch. He is right. I did ride his older bike, and it did have a nice pull. I think it could take you a day to get used to it. It is a little bit more on-off than I would like.
So I'm right about that too?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Tester.
So,
Yeah.
but for me, I would like to have a longer clutch life, and I feel like going this route will keep me in that direction. One thing I like to note, it's a 1351 now versus a 1349 gearing. I think you had a 1350 on your bike. Did you notice the gearing change at all?
Not
that tells
really.
you right there.
Yep.
He doesn't know.
No,
right? The pause tells you the answer.
Yep.
It doesn't carry third gear as much as the older bike, and that just could be because it's plugged up a little bit. When you ride the GYTR bike, that third gear usability comes right back. So a simple muffler change, things like that, and you probably could go to a 1350. I do prefer the 1349 wheelbase. I haven't tried the 49 gearing on this bike yet, but with that 51, that wheelbase is shortened a little bit. And when I get back on from the 25 to 26, it does feel a little bit shorter. So that could be a positive or a negative depending on how you ride. But overall, man, me and you together, I would say this is a better direction for Yamaha.
Yeah, I agree. I like the motor better. Chassis stuff, I'll know more as I get on with it, but good job on the Yamaha on the motor, I think.
Good job, Tester Steve.
Yeah, I'm test guy now. And red and white, get it. It's great.
We're gonna get Eddie here in a minute. Let's get Eddie. All right, so we brought in Eddie Laird here. We were just here last week on the 26 Honda 450R. I want to do a little bit of a comparison for you guys out there and maybe wondering. And Eddie's the guy to talk about that because he's in charge of the Honda. So hopping on this 26 450 Yamaha today with Steve. Give us a little bit of a comparison between the chassis.
Yeah, so obviously you'll go back and watch my video on the Honda, and I really rant and raved about how much I love that bike, how comfortable I felt on the chassis, the ergonomics felt on that bike, you know. And so when I jumped on this one, I've been on a Yamaha before, the 24, so I kind of had an idea of what to expect. But right off the bat, the first thing I noticed is this compliancy this chassis has compared to the Honda as far as lean angle traction.
So lean angle, that bump compliance.
Yeah, so same exact track we rode, right?
Yep.
That we rode on the Honda. Same layout, same off-camber corners, same type of dirt. And right away, the first thing I noticed, I was like, wow, I can lean, accelerate. I'm not tiptoeing around because I feel like the back end's pushing or the front end's not biting. So that was the first thing right away that I think I came back and told you. I'm like, man, this thing feels glued to the track right now.
So what we call that in the testing world is tire contact patch.
Yeah.
You feel like you have a wider patch and you can feel the ground more.
Yeah, like on the Honda, you know, say going up some of the hills, you're kind of leaning on the side, you kind of feel the bike, like you're just waiting for it to let go, you know?
Yep.
Where the Yamaha, I didn't feel that at all. I felt like it was just planted, had a lot of contact patch, and I could just kind of let the bike kind of do what it wanted to do underneath me, and I was very, very impressed with that right off the bat. I mean, before I did anything, I got on the track after Steve had already rode, so the bike was kind of a little broken, warmed up, ready to go. Track was kind of, you know, cut in already, and that was the first thing I noticed right away. It was like 4 corners, I just took off. You know, usually I have a couple roll laps where I kind of feel it out. I didn't do that today. Like I got on the bike and I was like, wow, this thing feels, chassis-wise, felt really good.
He did come in and tell me off air, like, hey, I just feel like I can corner this a little bit better than the Honda.
Yep.
And that's kind of a rare thing coming from the older Yamaha where you always feel like you have a front end vague feel. So that says something. If you feel like you can lean a little bit better than a Honda and have some more stability, I would assume.
Yeah, for sure.
Then that's a good thing. Engine controllability? Because this is what Yamaha's pitching to us, right?
Yeah, so that was one of my biggest gripes on the 24 that I had, the bike I raced at Mammoth. That's kind of one of the things that drove me to the Honda for 26 was that engine package felt complete, right? Had good hit, linear, smooth, had good top end. Look, a Yamaha, anybody that gets on a Yamaha right away, especially the previous generation, they're gonna love it because that bike has so much hit, right? And you're gonna gravitate to that feel. But I look at it as longevity. Okay, that feels good now. What's that gonna feel like in 19 minutes when you're out here doing a Saturday series race, doing 20-minute motos on a choppy, beat-up track? It's not a good combination, and that's what I fought in the previous generation. In my honest opinion, Yamaha nailed it. They nailed it with this engine package. I went through the Bible and broke down everything they did, and like, you know, they choked off the muffler, they choked off the air box, but then they advanced the timing on the cams, you know, to bring some of that power back, but keep it nice and linear. Huge kudos to the noise. Like, it takes a long time to get adapted to riding a Yamaha with the airbox up here. I worked on these bikes from 2010 to 13 when they first came out with this setup, the reversed, and it took a long time to get used to hearing that airbox. You don't hear it much on this bike since they kind of choked it down. Yeah. So, yeah, I think the engine package, I started out on the map that was in it.
Which is stock.
Stock map.
Yep.
And then that was my first time out just because I wanted to really focus on the chassis. And then I went to the TP map, and I was like, wow, that was
a little bit more hit.
Yeah, a little more hit. Like I felt like some of the corners, even the corners, you couldn't necessarily carry third in it, but I would do it anyways and just kind of just barely flick the clutch, and it was perfect. So I think the way they move, I don't want to say they completely changed the engine package because look, the bike's still a rocket ship. Yep. You know, you still go to Glen Helen, and if you look up at the Glen Helen sign, it's blurry still. The bike's still really fast, but it's manageable and it's easier to ride than the previous model.
Look, again, this is just covering a little bit of our first impression. We're trying to just give you a little snippet of what this bike is like. For me, we didn't really talk about suspension much, but for me, you might hear on a lot of other media, and I've been talking to these guys, is that they're saying the fork is stiff. I disagree a little bit. I feel like the initial part of the stroke is soft, and then it ramps up really quick in the mid-stroke, and maybe they're riding a little bit low in the stroke. So for me, I went a little bit stiffer and then opened up the rebound, and that actually helped for a little bit of balance for me today at Glen Helen. So you're gonna have to find that balance, but overall, there is more holdup within this suspension package. He's 220 pounds. He's not slamming or bottoming, so that says something about that suspension package. I'm gonna dive into a lot more of this stuff over on my channel, KieferInkTesting.com, as well as my show and my podcast. So look at, this is the first impression. Oh, you got something else.
Can I touch on that suspension?
Go ahead.
So look, at 230 pounds, 32 pounds, depending on what I had for breakfast, I can't ride most of the production motorcycles at speed, right? It gets a little scary. The Honda, I had metal to metal a couple times. The last 2 times I've rode it on production suspension. They insisted on having the Saga 105, which left me no static sad. Look, the bike was scary to ride, but I still rode it and I had fun. I know that on every bike. I had no problem riding this bike today. I could push this bike to the limits. I never bottomed it out once.
To his limits.
To my limits, yeah. I never bottomed it out. I never felt coming down any of the hills or anything where I was like, man, I can feel the front end's really loaded. So I always tend to lean with you on stuff because you've kind of taught me a lot about this, but I'm gonna have to disagree on that one. I think it is pretty stiff. Because if it can handle me, I think it's pretty stiff.
I think it's stiff in the mid-stroke.
Stiffer.
Yes. So for me, like initially, you could stiffen it up for me to kind of bring that up a little bit so you're not riding down in the stroke a little bit. But nonetheless, Yamaha did, I'm just going to say this right off the bat, and normally I'm the harshest critic for Yamaha because I ride this bike a lot. They kind of did what we're all asking for. They gave us some more comfort. They gave us more controllability. And that's all we really wanted. We want to bring some of that 22 feeling back, but still have that cornering ability. And I think so far, they've done that.
Yeah.
Between Steve, our buddy Dave, and you, we all kind of agree that's the direction we're going. So I'm going to put more time on this. Steve's going to put more time on his bike. I'm sure we'll talk about it on his show on Pulp MX. So for us here at Racer X, this is our first impression. Good job to Yamaha and Blue Crew. And don't forget, something I didn't even cover because this video is going to be 30 minutes long, is you can lock this thing up for safety. So now the Yamaha Power Tuner app, you can lock it so no guys can just start it up and wheelie boy out of your garage. So you don't got to worry about that. So
that's nice. That's a good feature.
It is something, especially living in the high des, you don't know who's rolling in.
And I still think to this day, the GYTR tuner app is the best in the market, right? They have
there's more parameters within the Yamaha Power Tuner.
They got hour meters, they got logs, you can track your oils, your top ends there, and so they have that market pretty much nailed down in my opinion.
Any more questions, hit me up, Chris@KieferInkTesting.com. That's my email. I'm happy to answer them for you. If you see me at the track, come talk to me about the bike, and I'll try to get you guys some settings up on my website soon. As well, a whole breakdown over on Steve's side as well. We'll try to do a cool write-up about something that maybe you do not know about this bike. That'll be over on Steve's site. So lots of information coming down the pipe here for the Blue Crew machine. And don't forget, 12 issues, $30. The magazine side of things at Racer X, things you can read on the site, you really can't read in the magazine. So it's 2 different things. So go check that out as well. And Happy to be here, and we'll be back soon with more 2026 intros right here on RacerXOnline.com. See you later.